Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Build Order Tutorials. It's been a while since the last one. A lot of that had to do with the new patch and seeing if builds actually would stay the same or be vastly different. The build we're going to be looking at here is actually vastly different and is a response to some of the fast Hydra builds you're probably experiencing in PvZ. We saw it first from Tails, and it is a 2-base fast storm all-in. So you're going to start things off with a pylon on the low ground. You're going to scout with that probe. Send your building probe to the natural. Build a 17 nexus. '18 gateway. 19 assimilator. And 20 assimilator. The 21 pylon. Put your guys on gas. A 23 cybernetics core and start a zealot. Build a 29 gas at your natural. Start your warpgate. Build a stargate. Put your guys in gas. Build a gas and build your mothership core. Build a robo. Put probes in that last gas. Build a pylon. Build a void ray and chrono boost the void ray. Build a twilight council. Build another zealot. Keep your eye on your supply. Don't get supply blocked. Use the void ray to kill scouting overlords. Build 3 gateways. Build a warp prism. And a templar archives. You should be fully saturated on both bases. No longer needing to make any more probes. Build 4 more gateways. Start building pylons ahead of when you'll need them, as you'll have a lot of production soon. Pick up your zealots, bring your void ray with the warp prism, and head to the Zerg's 3rd base. You can use chrono boost on those gateways now. You're going to use your warp-ins to warp in 4 templars and immediately turn them into archons. Remember to turn your gateways into warp gates. At this point, you're either doing damage or not. Just try and harass with the archons warp prism at the very least. When you feel like you're being pushed back, you can go back and start macroing. When you are pushed back, start building adepts. I got an observer in this game, but it's not necessary. Usually. As you're pushed back and starting to macro, get resonating glaives and storm. Chrono both of those. At this point, you'll just be using your warp prism to do some mild harassment while building up for a follow-up push. Get High Templar in preparation of Storm. Should have also warped in a bunch of adepts there. And as Storm and Resonating Glaives finishes up, move forward to do your second attack. So warp in adepts, or if you see the need to, perhaps stalkers. Change your chrono boost from the upgrades to your gateways again. And do your attack. This will either win or it won't. And that's the all-in aspect of this build. Let's go to the build discussion. The strengths of this build. So it is a Nexus first, which will give you a strong boost initially. It can surprise your opponent because who expects 2 base Storm? Usually the expected build is 2 base DTs, as well as just in general being an all-in that can sometimes surprise people who don't scout. It deals with Hydra, Ling Bane pretty effectively with that Storm especially, and the Hydras will be dealt with by the Adepts too. If they do have Ling Baneling, you're going to have to be a little more careful with your Zealot Warp-ins and your Adept Warp-ins. And last, the Warp Prism provides harassment plus ability to micro. The weaknesses of this build. Nexus first can lose to cheese. That's always going to be a given if you're going to go Nexus first. Scouting can make doing damage difficult. So basically, if they do scout you and they see the Temple Archives and they see the amount of gateways and the fact that you're 2-basing them, they can prepare. Overlord Speed or Fast Layer Overseer can scout this, so added in with a scouting can make doing damage difficult. And finally, not much chance of a macro follow-up. Technically you can, and if you really want to, you could probably even adapt this build to only do that first push into a 3rd base and follow up Storm Resonating Glaives, but if you're gonna go for the all-in version, it's an all-in. You know, either works or it doesn't. Tips and tricks, as always, for Protoss: place your pylons around your base in the early to mid game to detect Overlord drops, as well as provide places to put buildings in a more secret location. Use the Void Ray to kill scouting Overlords, as we did in the preview build, or whatever you want to call it. That is sometimes the most important part of this build. You can try and hide mass gateways as much as possible. It's going to be difficult, but you gotta try. First Warp Prism attack can scout opponent's preparation. If you're totally prepared, wait for secondary attack with Storm, because they could expect the first attack, but they might think that you're going to expand off of it, or again, not follow up with Storm, and still go for Hydras, and hopefully your splash damage can actually still wreck them. And then last, try to grab as many kills as possible with the Warp Prism Harassment Micro. I mean, this is just kind of like a general thing, right? As you're, moving around with Medivacs or Overlord drops or Warp Prism, you're always going to try to do as much damage as possible. But this can not only do direct damage, it can also do indirect damage. It can actually, cause the Zerg, especially like a less prepared Zerg, to mess up their macro and thus make your follow-ups that much more deadly. Basically, the only version of this that I've seen is done by Tails, so they'll probably only have one, sample video, but hope you learned something from it. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more builder tutorials as well as tips and tricks and vlogs on Korea.